My girlfriend demanded, "Delete your LinkedIn. Female recruiters keep viewing your profile." I was job hunting after a layoff. I said, "That's unreasonable." She deleted it using my phone while I slept. When the Google recruiter who'd been trying to contact me called my emergency contact, my mom, to ask if I was okay, I, 28 male, was laid off from my software engineering job about 3 months ago. Company did a round of cuts, nothing personal, just budget stuff. I've been there almost 4 years. Good reviews, solid work, the whole deal. One Tuesday afternoon, HR pulls me into a Zoom call, reads from a script, and suddenly I'm updating my resume at 2 p.m. on a weekday. If you've never been laid off, it messes with your head in ways you don't expect. You start questioning your value. Your routine disappears overnight. You go from Slack notifications every 30 seconds to absolute silence. It's weird and lonely, and nobody talks about how disorienting it is. So I did what every unemployed tech person does. I updated my LinkedIn, turned on Open to Work, and started grinding. Applications, networking, cold messages to hiring managers. The whole soul-crushing circus. I was averaging about 15 to 20 applications a day, which anyone in tech right now knows is basically the minimum if you want a shot. My girlfriend and I had been together about 14 months at this point. She was working as an office coordinator at a dental practice. Stable job, decent pay. When I got laid off, she was supportive at first. "We'll figure it out. I believe in you," the standard stuff. Felt genuine at the time. Then things started shifting. About 2 weeks into my job search, she asked to see my LinkedIn profile. I thought she was curious or maybe wanted to help. I handed her my phone. She spent about 10 minutes scrolling through my connections, my messages, my profile views. Then she said, "Why are so many women looking at your profile?" I explained that recruiters tend to skew female in tech recruiting. It's just the demographics of the field. Many of the people viewing my profile were talent acquisition specialists from companies I'd applied to. That's literally how LinkedIn works. She didn't buy it. Over the next couple weeks, it escalated. She started asking me every evening who'd messaged me on LinkedIn. She wanted to read every recruiter conversation. She got upset when a female recruiter from a well-known company sent me a connection request with a note that said, "Love your background. Let's connect." She called it flirty and said, "No professional talks like that." I try to be patient. I really did. I told her I understood that insecurity can spike during stressful times and that my layoff was affecting both of us. I thought I was being a good partner. Then about 6 weeks in, she sat me down and said it. "I think you should delete your LinkedIn. Female recruiters keep viewing your profile and messaging you, and I don't like it. You can find a job through Indeed or something." I actually laughed. Not to be mean, I genuinely thought she was joking. She was not joking. I said, "That's unreasonable. LinkedIn is the primary platform for tech recruiting. Deleting it would be like a chef throwing away their knives." She said, "If our relationship matters to you, you'll do it." I said no. Firmly. Not rudely, not aggressively. Just no. She cried. Called me selfish. Said I was choosing random women over her. I told her that wasn't what was happening and suggested couples counseling. She said counseling was for people with real problems. We argued off and on for about 3 days. Then it seemed to blow over. She stopped bringing it up. I thought she'd accepted it. I was wrong. 3 days after our last argument about it, I woke up and reached for my phone to check emails. Morning routine, coffee, emails, LinkedIn notifications, job boards. But when I opened LinkedIn, it asked me to log in. Weird. I typed in my credentials. "This account has been deactivated." My chest went cold. I checked my email. There it was, a deactivation confirmation sent at 3:47 a.m. She'd used my phone while I slept, gone in my LinkedIn settings, and deleted my account. Let me explain what that means for someone in my position. I had over 800 connections built over 6 years. Recommendations from former managers. A portfolio of project descriptions I'd spent weeks perfecting. Conversations with 12 active recruiters, 3 of whom had me in various stages of their hiring pipelines. One of those was a recruiter from Google who'd reached out to me. Not the other way around. She'd found my profile, messaged me about a role on their cloud team, and we'd had 2 solid back and forths about scheduling a preliminary call. All gone. Because of female recruiters. I sat at the kitchen table for a long time. She was still asleep. I could hear her breathing in the next room. And I just sat there, hand around my coffee mug, processing. When she woke up, she came out stretching and smiling like it was any other morning. I said, "You deleted my LinkedIn." She didn't even hesitate. "Yeah, I did it for us. You'll thank me later. Indeed has plenty of jobs." I said, "You just destroyed months of networking and active recruiting conversations, including a Google recruiter." She shrugged, and said, "Google has a website. Just apply on there. If you've ever applied to Google through their website cold, you and 40,000 other people." The recruiter reach out was a golden ticket, and she tossed it in the garbage because the recruiter's name was probably something like Jessica or Amanda. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I got dressed, drove to my mom's house, and sat in her kitchen and told her everything. My mom, bless her, just listened. Then she said, "So what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to fix this." Update 1. The phone call that changed everything 5 days later. So here's what happened after I found out about the deletion. First, I tried to recover the account. LinkedIn gives you a window to reactivate, usually about 14 days. I managed to restore the profile, but here's what I couldn't recover. All my active message threads. Every conversation, every recruiter exchange, every carefully crafted response to every opportunity. Gone. Wiped clean. The connections came back, the recommendations came back, but the messages, the actual pipeline that represented months of relationship building, were just empty threads. I felt sick, physically sick. I sat in the Starbucks parking lot for 20 minutes because I didn't want to go back to the apartment. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. Remember the Google recruiter? The one who'd been actively trying to schedule a call with me? When my account went dark and I stopped responding, she apparently did what good recruiters do. She followed up. First through LinkedIn, which was deactivated. Then through the email I'd listed on my resume, which my girlfriend had also gone into and marked the recruiter's messages as spam. I found those later in my spam folder. 3 emails over 5 days, increasingly concerned. And then, and I cannot make this up, the recruiter called my emergency contact. See, when I'd been in my previous company, I'd listed my mom as my emergency contact in the employee directory, which was connected to my professional references. The Google recruiter had gotten my previous employer as a reference, contacted HR for a routine background pre-screen, and when she couldn't reach me through any normal channel, she asked HR if there was an alternate contact. They gave her my mom's number. Unusual? Yes. But apparently this role was hard to fill, and she'd really like my profile. My mom picked up the phone on a Wednesday afternoon. A Google recruiter introduced herself, explained she'd been trying to reach me for almost a week, and asked if everything was okay because I'd gone completely dark. My mom, God bless this woman, didn't miss a beat. She said, "Oh, he's fine. His girlfriend deleted his LinkedIn and his emails. Can I give you his personal cell number?" The recruiter paused, then said, "I'm sorry. Did you say his girlfriend deleted his professional accounts?" My mom said, "That's exactly what I said." The recruiter called me 20 minutes later. I was sitting on my mom's couch eating leftover pasta when my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't pick up. "Hi, this is the recruiter from Google. I just spoke with your mother." I wanted the ground to open up and swallow me. I was mortified. I started apologizing, tried to explain without sounding insane, and she cut me off. She was incredibly professional about it. Said she'd seen worse situations, doubt it, but nice of her to say, confirmed she was still interested in me for the role, and asked if we could schedule the preliminary call for the following week. I said yes, so fast I probably sounded unhinged. Then she said something that stuck with me. "For what it's worth, your professional profile is strong. Don't let anyone tell you it's not worth protecting." After that call, I drove back to the apartment. My girlfriend was home, sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I walked in, and she immediately started talking about dinner plans. I interrupted her. A Google recruiter just called my mom because she couldn't reach me, because he deleted my LinkedIn and marked her emails as spam. Her face went through about 6 expressions in 3 seconds. Then she landed on defensive. "You're making this a bigger deal than it is. It's one job. It's Google. So, you think you're going to work at Google?" She actually laughed. Babe, be realistic. That sentence. That one sentence. I replay it sometimes. Be realistic. From someone who deleted my professional network because she was jealous of job recruiters. I told her I needed space to think. She said, "You're being dramatic." I took some clothes and went to my mom's for the night. Over the next few days, her behavior escalated. She texted me constantly, not apologizing, demanding. She wanted to know when I was coming home to talk about this like adults. She said I was punishing her for caring about our relationship. She told me her friends all agreed I was overreacting. Then she pulled the move I'd been dreading. She called my mom directly. She told my mom that I was going through a mental health crisis because of the layoff and that she was worried about me. She said I'd been isolating and acting erratically, and that deleting the LinkedIn was something I'd asked her to do. She actually said that I'd asked her to do it. My mom, who had literally spoken to the Google recruiter and knew the entire truth, listened politely. Then she said, "Sweetheart, I think you should stop calling here," and hung up. My girlfriend then texted me, "Your mom just hung up on me. Your family is toxic." I didn't respond. Meanwhile, I was prepping for the Google preliminary screening. I spent 3 days at my mom's kitchen table reviewing system design concepts, grinding leak code problems, and trying to get my head right. My mom kept bringing me snacks like I was studying for the SATs again. She also gave me the Wi-Fi password on a Post-it note, even though I'd had it memorized since high school. Moms, man. Update 2. The interview, the apartment, and the final straw 3 weeks later. Okay, y'all, buckle up. The Google preliminary screening went well. Really well. The recruiter moved me forward to the technical interview round. I couldn't believe it. After months of applications into the void, of customizing cover letters that nobody reads, of getting auto-rejected by systems that probably flagged me for using the wrong font, I was in a real pipeline at a company that could change my entire career trajectory. I didn't tell my girlfriend. At this point, I'd moved back to the apartment because financially I didn't have another option. My savings were getting thin. 3 months without income does that. I was still paying my half of rent because my name was on the lease and I wasn't about to tank my credit score. She took my return as a sign that everything was fine. She acted like the LinkedIn thing never happened. She even said, "See, you came back. I knew you'd get over it." I wasn't over it. I was planning. But first, the entitlement got worse. Way worse. She started monitoring my phone in new ways. She demanded I keep my phone face up on the table at all times. If it buzzed and I didn't show her the notification, she'd sulk for hours. She installed a shared location app on my phone and hers, told me it was so we can find each other in emergencies. I let it happen because I was focused on the interview prep and didn't have the energy for another fight. Then she went after my email. I caught her one evening trying to guess my new password. She'd changed it once already, the spam filter trick, so I'd updated all my credentials. I walked into the bedroom, and she was sitting on the bed with my laptop open, typing passwords. "What are you doing?" "I forgot my Instagram password, and I'm trying to use your email to reset it." "Your Instagram isn't connected to my email." She closed the laptop and said, "Why do you have to make everything a fight?" I changed my passwords again, this time to something she'd never guess. I also enabled 2-factor authentication on everything: email, LinkedIn, job boards, everything. Lesson learned. Then came the financial entitlement. Because I was unemployed, she decided my half of the household contributions should shift. Not in a let's figure this out together way. In a you owe me way. She started keeping a running tab. On paper. Literally a notebook on the kitchen counter. Groceries, $84. He owes half. Electric bill, $126. He owes half. New shower curtain, $35. He owes half. She wasn't wrong that shared expenses should be split, but the notebook felt less like budgeting and more like a weapon. She'd point to it during arguments. "You think you can disrespect me when you can't even pay for groceries?" I was paying for groceries. I was paying rent. I was burning through savings while applying to jobs and interviewing at Google. But according to the notebook, I was a freeloader. The worst part was what she said to her family. I found out later, through her cousin, who I actually got along with, that she'd been telling her family I'd been fired for inappropriate behavior with a coworker. Not laid off. Fired. for harassment. Her cousin texted me out of the blue. "Hey man, is it true you got fired for hitting on someone at work?" That's what everyone's been told. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I typed back, "No, I was laid off in a company-wide reduction. I have the severance paperwork to prove it." She's lying. Her cousin said, "Yeah, that's what I figured. She does this. She does this." 3 words that told me everything about who I was dealing with. Anyway, the Google interviews. I did 4 rounds over 2 weeks. Technical screens, system design, behavioral. I prepped, like my life depended on it, because honestly, it kind of did. I did all my prep at the public library or my mom's house. I told my girlfriend I was going to coffee shops to apply for jobs. She complained I was never home, but didn't push it. After the final round, I waited. 8 days of checking my email every 45 seconds. Refreshing like a psycho. Barely eating. My mom called me twice a day just to chat, which was her way of making sure I was still breathing. Day 9, 4:17 p.m. Email from the recruiter. "Hi, I'm thrilled to let you know that the team would love to extend an offer. Let's set up a call to discuss the details." I read it 3 times. Then I put my phone down, went to the bathroom, and cried. Not dramatic movie crying. Just quiet, sitting on the bathroom floor, relief crying. 3 months of rejection and silence and self-doubt and my girlfriend actively sabotaging me. And I'd landed a role at Google. The offer call came 2 days later. The compensation package was, look, I'm not going to put the exact number, but it was roughly 2.8 times what I'd been making at my previous job. Base salary, stock options, signing bonus, the works. The recruiter walked me through everything, and I just kept saying, "That sounds great," like a robot, because my brain couldn't process the numbers. I accepted the offer that same day, and I didn't tell my girlfriend. Here's why. I spent the next week doing 3 things. First, I found a new apartment. 1 bedroom, walking distance to a train line, nice building, pet-friendly even though I don't have a pet. I signed the lease using the signing bonus as proof of income. Move-in date, the 1st of next month. Second, I contacted our landlord and formally notified them that I would not be renewing my portion of the lease. Our lease was structured as a joint agreement with both names. I gave proper 30-day notice as required and informed the landlord that she'd need to either find a new co-tenant or qualify for the apartment on her own income. Spoiler, her salary as an office coordinator wouldn't qualify solo. The rent was $2,100 a month, and most landlords want you making 3 times rent. She was making about $42,000. The math didn't math. Third, and this is the part I'm most conflicted about, I sent her cousin the severance documentation for my layoff. Redacted the financial details, but the letter clearly stated it was a workforce reduction with 0 disciplinary action. I asked her cousin to share it with whoever had heard the fired for harassment story. Her cousin didn't just share it with the family. She shared it at a family dinner with screenshots. I know this because the night after that dinner, my phone exploded. Not from my girlfriend, from her mom. Her mom called me and left a voicemail that I've saved. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, "I know what my daughter told us wasn't true. I'm not going to apologize for her because that's not my job. But I want you to know that I always thought you were a decent young man, and I'm sorry this happened." That was the most I ever got from her family. And honestly, it was enough. My girlfriend came home that night in a rage I'd never seen before. She stormed in, threw her bag on the counter, and started screaming. "You sent my family documents? Who does that?" "Someone who was falsely accused of workplace harassment," I said. I was sitting at the kitchen table, completely calm, because I had a signed offer letter from Google in my email and a new apartment lease in my folder, and nothing she could say mattered anymore. "You're trying to turn my family against me. You told them I was fired for harassing a coworker." I corrected the record. "It's the same thing. You lost your job because you can't keep your eyes to yourself. I got laid off in a budget cut with 40 other people, and I'm now employed again." She paused. "What? I got a new job. Where?" "Google." The silence that followed was the most satisfying 4 seconds of my life. Then, "You're lying." I pulled up the offer letter on my phone and held it up. Didn't let her touch the phone. I'd learned that lesson, but held it close enough to read. Her entire demeanor shifted. Instantly. Like flipping a switch. She went from screaming to soft in under 2 seconds. Baby, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. See? Everything worked out. We should celebrate. We're not celebrating. I'm moving out on the 1st. More silence. You're what? I gave notice to the landlord. I signed a new lease. I'm done. She started crying. You can't leave me. I supported you through the worst time of your life. You deleted my LinkedIn, sabotaged my email, lied to your family about me, and told me I wasn't good enough for Google. That's not support. I was scared. I was scared of losing you. You weren't scared of losing me. You were scared of me succeeding. That last line, I didn't plan it. It just came out. But the second I said it, I knew it was true. Every controlling thing she'd done, every act of sabotage, every piece of monitoring, it wasn't about jealousy over female recruiters. It was about keeping me small, keeping me dependent, keeping me in a position where I needed her more than she needed me. She begged for the next 3 days. Flowers on the counter, cooked meals, love notes on the bathroom mirror. She offered to go to that counseling thing I'd suggested months ago. She said she'd work on herself. She even said she'd apologize to my mom. I packed my stuff. Update 3. Moving day and the aftermath, 2 weeks later. Moving day was a Saturday. I'd hired 2 guys off a moving app, $200 for 3 hours. My buddy from college came to help. My mom showed up with a cooler full of sandwiches and water bottles like I was moving into a dorm. My girlfriend was there. She sat on the couch and watched us pack. Didn't help. Didn't obstruct. Just sat there like she was watching someone else's life happen. At one point she said, very quietly, "You're really doing this?" I said, "Yeah. You're going to regret this." "Maybe, but I doubt it." She picked up the expense notebook, the one she'd been tracking everything in, and held it up. "You still owe me $340. I pulled out my wallet, counted out the cash, and put it on the counter. "We're square." She stared at the money. Then she said, "I hope Google has ugly recruiters." I almost laughed. Almost. My buddy did laugh, and she shot him a look that could have curdled milk. We were out in under 2 hours. Last thing I grabbed was a framed photo of us from a trip we'd taken early in the relationship. She watched me look at it. I think she thought I was going to take it. I put it back on the shelf and walked out. Now here's the aftermath, because I know that's what everyone's here for. The apartment situation hit her fast. The landlord reached out and told her she had 60 days to either find a qualifying co-tenant or move out. She couldn't afford it alone, and she knew it. She tried to get her sister to move in, but her sister had just signed her own lease somewhere else. She ended up having to break the lease early, which cost her a penalty. I think it was 1 month's rent, so about $2,100. She moved back in with her parents. At 27, I'm not saying that to be cruel. Plenty of people live with their parents, and there's no shame in it. But for someone who'd spent 14 months acting like she was the mature, stable one in our relationship, the optics stung. Her cousin told me her mom made her start paying rent at home, $600 a month. If you're going to live here like an adult, you're going to pay like an adult. I respect her mom for that, honestly. The family fallout was significant. The harassment lie was the thing that really turned people. Her dad apparently sat her down after the family dinner where the cousin shared my severance docs and told her that lying about something like that could have ruined a man's life. She reportedly told him to stay out of it. He didn't speak to her for about 3 weeks after that. They've since reconciled, I think, but the trust damage was done. She tried to reach out to me twice after I moved. First time was a long text message about 2 weeks after moving day. It was mostly blame. She said I'd blindsided her, that I'd planned everything behind her back, and that I was just as manipulative as I accused her of being. She ended with, "I gave you 14 months of my life, and this is how you repay me." I didn't respond. Not because I was trying to be cold. I just didn't have anything left to say. Second time was about a month later. Much shorter text. Just, "I saw your LinkedIn is back up. Congrats on Google." I stared at that one for a while. It felt like the closest thing to an acknowledgement I was ever going to get. Not an apology, she'd never apologize, but an acknowledgement that it was real, that I'd actually done it, that the thing she tried to sabotage had worked out anyway. I didn't respond to that one either. As for the job, I started 3 weeks after moving into the new place. The onboarding was intense. The work is challenging in the best way. I sit in meetings sometimes and think about that morning when I woke up to a deactivated LinkedIn and a girlfriend who thought Indeed was an acceptable substitute for professional networking. It feels like a different life. The Google recruiter, the one who called my mom, sent me a Slack message on my first day. It said, "Welcome to the team. Told you your profile was worth protecting." I screenshot that and sent it to my mom. She replied with about 15 heart emojis and a voice message that was just her telling my dad, "He's at Google. I told you. I told you." I'm not going to lie and say I'm completely fine. Some nights, I still think about the good parts of the relationship. The early months when everything felt easy. The way she'd laugh at my dumb jokes. The way she'd fall asleep on my shoulder during movies. That stuff was real too. And losing it hurts even when the person hurt you. My therapist, yeah, I started therapy, couldn't afford it before, but Google's benefits are ridiculous. Says that missing the good parts doesn't mean the bad parts were acceptable. She says I can grieve the relationship and still know I made the right call. I'm working on holding both of those things at the same time. My mom checks in every Sunday. We have a standing phone call at 6 p.m. She always asks how work is going, whether I'm eating enough, and if I've met anyone nice. I told her I'm not ready, and she said, "Good. Focus on you for a while." Last week, she texted me a photo. It was a bumper sticker she'd seen in a parking lot that said, "My son works at Google." She asked me where to buy one. I told her absolutely not. She bought it anyway. It's on her car. Anyway, that's the whole story. 3 months of unemployment, a girlfriend who deleted my career to protect her insecurities, a mom who accidentally became the most important part of my interview pipeline, and a recruiter who refused to give up on a candidate. I'm eating better, sleeping better. I have a savings account again. I have a career I'm genuinely excited about. And I have a LinkedIn profile with 900 connections, every single one of them protected by two-factor authentication. To anyone out there going through something similar, someone trying to keep you small because your growth threatens them, please hear me. Your career is not a negotiation point in a relationship. Your ambition is not a threat. And the right person will never ask you to shrink so they can feel safe. And for the love of God, enable two-factor authentication on everything.